Hello, my name is Jackson Becker, and today I would like to talk to you about a problem that I believe we have in America. This problem being that under federal law, marijuana is not legal for recreational or medical use. I believe this is a big problem, and I believe that legalization has many benefits and should be implemented as soon as possible. Today, we're going to go over some of the economic opportunities that the marijuana industry can bring in, and we're going to talk about some of the health aspects of it. We're going to talk about the stigmas and why it is still illegal. So, first off, we're going to talk about economic impacts of the marijuana industry. So, one thing is this is a taxable product. You can put this under the sin tax, and if you don't know what that is, it's a tax that is usually implemented on things like alcohol and tobacco and things that are delegated as sinful. So I have here in a 2018 article from Procon.com, the marijuana industry, adult use and medical, in the United States could exceed over $24 billion in revenue by 2025. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a lot of money to me that can be used for things like schools and highways and really, really great things. It says here in a 2016 article by Gavin Evans, a mature marijuana industry could generate up to $28 billion in tax revenues for federal, state, and local governments, including $7 billion in federal revenue, $5.5 billion from business taxes, and $1.5 billion from income and payroll taxes. This is a huge, huge opportunity that I think we should start capitalizing on. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is not only can the marijuana industry create revenue, but it can create a lot of jobs. So I have here in a 2019 article by Mr. Anali Krisha, I'm probably butchering that, a 2016 RCG Economics and Marijuana Policy Group study on Nevada says that legalizing recreational marijuana in the state could support over 41,000 jobs till 2024 and generate over 1.7 billion in labor income. That's a lot of jobs. It also says here in a 2019 article by Kyle Murphy, cannabis directly employs over 211,000 full-time workers in the U.S. and indirect jobs. Add indirect jobs, and the total number of full-time workers dependent on the legal cannabis industry hits nearly 300,000. These are indirect jobs and direct jobs. All right, the next thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is some of the drawbacks. And so one of the biggest things that you'll hear all of the time is people saying, well, no, this is not like alcohol, this is a whole different thing. But they're usually saying that in regards to underage usage, and it turns out they're not that different. So marijuana use in somebody whose brain isn't fully developed, if they're under 25, can affect things like memory and motivation to do things. But here in the great debate, Alcohol versus Weed by Lauren Villa, it says, and this is regarding to how much it would take to overdose on things, because alcohol poisoning is a huge problem. It says, a fatal dose of THC, the potent chemical in marijuana, would be between 15 and 70 grams. To give you an idea of how much marijuana that is, consider a typical joint, contains about half a gram of marijuana. That means that you would have to smoke between 238 and 1,113 joints. So it is extremely hard to fatally overdose on marijuana. There are things, what is commonly known as greening out, which is similar to like a lower level alcohol poisoning where you will get queasy and you will probably throw up, and it's not going to be a fun time for anybody, but it won't kill you. So yeah, another thing that's interesting in the health department of things is it can be used as something to treat pain, which, if you know anything about medicine or the current medical world, you would know that opioids are a huge, huge problem right now because they are overprescribed and they're highly addictive, and they're used to treat pain. Now, this doesn't treat as severe pain. Marijuana can't treat as severe pain as like surgery or some things like that, but I'm going to read you this quote from a 2018 article by Dr. Peter Grinspoon. It says, "While marijuana isn't strong enough for severe pain, for example, post-surgical pain or a broken bone, it is quite effective for the chronic pain that plagues many millions of Americans." And this is so true. So legalizing marijuana could help hold back some of the need for prescribing opioids for some of this chronic pain that plagues so many Americans. So now we're going to move on to some of the stigma as to why marijuana is currently illegal in the US. And it goes all the way back to the 1930s during the time of heavy Mexican immigration. And if you don't already know this, it's pretty racist why marijuana is illegal and why it is heavily criminalized in the US. So listen to this. 2014, by Dr. Malik and Amanda Riemann. During hearings on marijuana law in the 1930s, claims were made about marijuana's ability to cause men of color to become violent and solicit sex from white women. There was this thing called Reefer Madness. That was a film shown, and it portrayed people of color as lusting after blood, after smoking cannabis, and lusting after white women. And it's just, it's really icky to go back and watch some of that. In a 2018 article by Becky Little, it says, police officers in Texas claimed that marijuana incited violent crimes and aroused a, quote, lust for blood. I think it's pretty interesting when you go back and you look into why things became the way that they are, and there's such a negative stigma against marijuana use, and a lot of it comes from very, very racist backgrounds and just blatant misinformation being spread when people didn't know any better, and racism was a lot more common. So if they saw somebody who they didn't believe was equal to them using a substance, then they were probably going to shut that substance out and any benefits it could reap. So how do we go about changing this? And the first big step is educating yourself. Educate yourself on why things are the way they are today. Educate yourself on who is it safe to use, who is safe to use these things. Educate yourself on really anything that you can. Find credible sources and learn, because this could be a real game changer in the medical game, and it could change a lot for America, I believe, for the better. So, in a 2017 article by Sam Becker, no relation, it says, the first step to educating ourselves about the issue is, Fox said, the better we can effectively communicate the reasons to end marijuana prohibition, the more likely we are to convince others. Well put. So, know your stuff, know why things are the way they are, know what you want to do to change it, and get involved if you feel passionate about this idea like I do. My plan is to try and decriminalize the marijuana stigma and just educate people in a calm, respectful manner about what this could do for a lot of people. I'd like to make it legal in the remaining 39 states where it is illegal for of-age people to use it medically and recreationally. And I believe that'll work because, educating people. In a 2020 article by Tom Head, it says, outdated public policy, racial injustice, and misconceptions about drug use contribute to the reasons why marijuana has yet to be legalized nationwide. Very well said. It is just a lot based in lies, and it's hard to see people who could really benefit from something and they can't get to it because of these lies. So to reiterate, we talked about some of the economic opportunities that it can provide. We talked about some of the health drawbacks and some of the stigma as to why it is criminalized today. I believe that legalization has many benefits and should be implemented as soon as possible. Thank you for watching my speech.